Let's see here. Live. Make sure to let me know when you get your announcement. Oh, hold on.
Okay. Got my eyes.
Welcome in, everyone. We're here. This is our grand finale for our 2023 season. Mandy, how are we doing today? How are we doing?
Grand finale. What a year, Amani. I can't believe it. We made it. We made it.
I know we've
Yeah.
made it. We've made it. We've done well.
Yeah.
What are you looking forward to the most about the holiday season coming up?
Oh, that's a kind of a tricky question. I am going to be with family and I'm going back to Ohio and
Mhm.
I love my family in Ohio. It's just a whole bunch of wisecrackers, practical jokes, lots of eating, lots of football and just being together. I think we take for granted that we have a loving family, that some people, when they have the holidays, it's not a good time for them. They don't have family, they are alone, all that kind of stuff. So I think this year more than ever, I'm really grateful that I have a whole family of funny wisecrackers and that we actually get to be together all under one roof, spending time together that is rare. And so I'm really grateful for that. What about you? What are you going to do for the holidays?
So for me, once again, I'll be with family too, so that'll be good. I think it's the food. If I'm being honest, like I don't really
Mm.
eat soul food very much during the year, but I save my all my carbs and everything for the holidays. So I'm looking forward to the mac and cheese, to the sweet potato, to the collard greens, to the desserts, and then because it's evolved over the years, so then I get to spend time with like some of my close friends that I grew up with too. So those are kind of
Mm.
two things. Yeah, two things I'm looking forward to.
I love that. What's something else I'm looking forward to? I don't know. Should we tell them? Should we tell them the new thing that we're doing next year?
Yes,
Should we
tell them,
tell
talk to
them?
the people.
Should we
Yes,
release should we reveal? Should we make it a
yes,
private or public reveal? Um,
yes.
I something I'm really looking forward to is, we have this show once a week. We get to talk to these amazing humans and then we just hang up. We don't You and I don't debrief about it. We
Okay.
go on to another meeting. We don't give ourselves a buffer or anything. And so something that we're starting for next year is every Wednesday we're doing a mini episode. And it's just you and I, Amani and I chit-chatting with each other for like 10, 15 minutes tops
Yes.
about sometimes it's about a previous guest, sometimes it's about stuff going on in our lives. And I'm really excited about that. I know we recorded a couple earlier today,
Mhm.
and I'm excited about having that extra level of dialogue with you and
Yes.
with other people about just a wrap up of what the heck just happened to us
Right.
and how did it impact us kind of thing. So I'm excited about the mini episodes that start. They start January 3rd. So keep an
Yes.
eye out for those wherever you listen to your podcasts, and obviously on our Instagram, YouTube channel, all those things. Keep your eyes peeled for the mini. Also, we're looking for a name for it because mini's kind of lame. Like I want to call it. I don't know if it's episodita or like I don't know. I don't know if
Yes.
it's like
Yeah.
poquito. I don't know. I want to kind of work through the name of it, kind of thing. So
Okay.
we'll see.
We'll work
Yeah.
on that. Think about that as you're on the plane traveling to your holiday gatherings. I'll do the same thing.
Okay, I will.
Now, our guest today. I was thinking earlier as I was taking my walk, like how was I going to introduce her and everything. Now we're debating on how we first met. I say we met in the Black Meetings and Events Facebook group, but she's saying something else. Just an amazing human being. One of my mentors, like you have your personal advisory council and you have different people there. Like, what's the big monument where you have that they have the president's pictures on? What's that
Mount
called?
Rushmore. Is she on your Mount
Yes,
Rushmore?
yes, yes.
Oh,
Yes. So
wow.
yes.
That's
So
awesome.
she's online, just an amazing friend, and I can't wait to talk to her. So let's bring her to the stage. We're gonna have Melissa Majors join us. Round of applause for Melissa. There she is, right there.
Hi, everybody.
Yes.
Hi, Melissa. Good to see
Hey,
you.
Mandy.
Melissa has helped me host my game shows on my Twitch channel, my award shows. She's part of Mastermind, like so many things, and we've only really known each other for like almost 4 years now. Now you're saying I know. Where did we meet? Because you're trying to say it's with Tracy Judge, but I think it was with the Black Meetings and Events Facebook group. What evidence do you have?
Well,
Yeah.
let me tell you what my evidence is. So on LinkedIn, many years ago, about years ago, I put a post on name a leader that normally wouldn't pop up on your Google search if you were searching for leadership speakers, somebody I need to get to know because I wanted to change the face of what leadership speakers look like. And Tracy Judge tagged you in that
Mm,
post and said, you need to get to know Amani Roberts. Well, I was stalking you
Mm.
online after that. And then shortly after that post, we met at one of the California MPI or Southern California MPI chapter events where I spoke
mhm.
on a panel there. We took a picture together and it has been a whirlwind
Yes.
ever since. Amani, you two are on my Mount Rushmore. We are down like 4 flat
Aw.
tires. I'm always in your corner because I'm a huge fan. And
Yeah.
that's how we
Aw.
met. That's the real story, Mandy.
I
Okay.
like the real I also like that you met him before he met you. I like that. I like the professional stalking version of it.
Yeah. Yes.
That's my
Very
favorite
good.
thing to do. I love that.
Yes.
That's great.
That's good. I have to check. That was well done. Okay, so good there. My first question for you is that Melissa and I, we talk a lot about personal, professional, and she has one of the most interesting strategies about basketball teams and forming your own basketball teams. So would you mind sharing with the audience and Mandy, what do you mean by that?
Absolutely. I love to talk about this stuff. I don't get the stage to talk about personal strategies like this. Okay. So when I was single, Mandy, I dated like it was a job, honey.
I did
Mm.
too.
Yeah, you gotta
Wasn't
work
it
it.
fun? Oh, you got it.
So
It was
much
so
fun.
fun. Yeah, so
Well,
fun.
anyway, my strategy is don't give all your energy just to one person up front. You need to spread it around a little bit. Okay.
Mhm,
And so you need to have 5 different people that you're seeing. You
mhm.
need one person who's the cutie pie that you can
Oh.
take around to family gatherings. They're like, "Ooh, look at that person. They're so cute." Then you need somebody who can fix stuff when they break, your gate breaks or your car, you need somebody who can help you with,
Mhm,
fixing stuff.
mhm.
And
Carry
then
your
you need
groceries, carry your groceries in.
carry
Yep.
your groceries, the heavy
Mhm.
lifting. Then you need somebody who's a little older because they're gonna treat you like an absolute queen. Where
Mhm.
am I? Was that 3 or 4? Then
3.
That's
you need somebody, the late night call when you just really need some company, you know what I'm saying? Then you
You
have
up?
somebody on
You
that
up?
list
Yeah, yeah.
too, right? And when you find somebody then that fits all of those categories, that's the one you decide to spend the rest of your life with. But until then, spread the love, baby. Yeah,
Oh, I love
yeah.
that. I think I married my basketball team. I
Oh,
mean,
good job.
There
Well,
you
it's been
go.
10 years for you, right? So you
it is. Yeah,
yeah,
I
good for
can't wait
you.
to tell Scooter, "You're my basketball team." He's gonna really love that analogy. That's adorable.
Yes.
I love that. Did you marry your basketball team?
I did.
You did.
I did.
I
Yes,
lo
I did. I married my basketball team. We're going on 12 years together.
Aw, Amani, we've
Yeah.
gotta find you your basketball team.
Well, Melissa's been preaching to me about the flag people, so every time I talk to Melissa, I say, "Well, I had to cut someone from the basketball team, but I have a tryout coming out on Friday, so I'll let you know." So it's a running joke. It's a running part of the conversation.
Your life is short. You gotta be a critical thinker, man, and it takes it's getting more data and things like that so you can make a wise choice and who you're gonna spend the rest of your life with. That's how it works.
Mm, I love
Yeah.
that. Well,
Well,
I
thanks
think
for the question, Amani.
money. Well, I think speaking of numbers, whether it is 5 or 9, you are the youngest of 9 kids. Is that right? Fact or
I am.
fiction? And I think I'm the number 3 of 4. I think big families always create some level of chaos, organized chaos, dysfunctional chaos, some level of chaos, right? But I think the bonus of being in a big family is our intuition gets strong, our spidey senses get peaked. So I'm just
Mm.
curious for you, being the youngest of 9, being in a big family, what are some of those things that the strengths that you got from being a part of a big family that you carry on today, whether that is in personal or professional life?
That's a great question. I love my family. Let me give you just a little history on how the 9 came together.
Mhm.
So my father was married to my father is black, my mother is white, but my father was his first wife was black, and they had 7 children together. And in the 60s, she had some very difficult life situations as a child that then manifest as she got older. And so
Mm.
that really became difficult to be married to somebody like that. So in the 60s, they divorced. And my father fought for custody of the kids, which was
Mm.
unheard of then.
Yeah.
He even had a judge tell him a piece of a mother is better than no mother at all. Why should he give you custody of your kids?
Oh boy.
And so he won, he got custody of his kids, and then shortly after that, he met my mother, and they fell in love, like love at first sight, and they got married, and then they had 2 more children, myself and my older brother, Sean. My white mother then raised all of this blended, literally blended family in terms of
Mm.
race, age, everything together and dared us to call each other half brothers and sisters.
Mm.
So we are even tighter than most big families by design. And as a
Mm.
result of that, I learned how to people really early in
Mm.
life. I also learned how to be a professional tattletale. Okay, being the youngest of all these kids, it was my job to keep inventory of what people were doing right and doing wrong. And I tell
Mhm.
you, that truly has served me well. It got me beat up a couple times as a little kid, but it served me well as a
Aw.
grown up because I learned what not to do.
Mm.
I learned what not to do to keep myself out of trouble. And even now, as a leadership expert and speaker, I can say I study the impact of a lot of leaders and learn lessons from failure, which oftentimes are even big in lessons for myself and for others. And so, gaining wisdom I didn't have to earn myself is something I am so grateful to my older brothers and sisters who took a lot bigger risks than I ever needed to because I
Yeah.
learned the lesson already. So, and then I learned how to cook like nobody's business because everybody in the family can cook. So, Amani, you talk about soul food, it is going down in my
Mm,
family's house for the
yes.
holidays.
Oh, yes. When you think about the year 2023, what a year it has been.
Mhm.
What has been Melissa Major's most proudest moment of 2023?
Oh, my most
Mm.
proudest moment of 2023.
And if you want to give us the top 2 or 3 as they're coming to mind, feel free to share.
Yeah, there isn't one that I can say, but earlier today,
Hmm.
I heard some feedback that will carry me through the whole next year.
Mm.
Okay.
So, San Diego State University, right? We're all kind of connected. Tracy Judge is involved in that, the person who officially introduced us. But anyway, so I've been a mentor and a guest lecturer for them for a few years. Last year, about this time, I was there in person and I was teaching a class of meeting professionals who were earning their masters in meetings management. One of the students graduated, he got his master's, and now he is one of the professors in the program.
Oh.
My book, The 7 Simple Habits of Inclusive Leaders, is required reading for that program. So he facilitated a book discussion around it. And the feedback that he shared about these younger professionals who are really shaping their philosophies around leadership, what he shared on how my words and the inside of my book have shaped them and made real impact and created level 5 insights that I'll never forget, made me feel like I'm really living out my life's purpose and I'm making a difference. And I feel like my work is my life's purpose. It's a big part of it. And so hearing that I've made a difference in other people's lives just makes me feel like I need to continue on doing what I'm doing and not be reluctant at all to share my thoughts and, my philosophies with the world, which comes at a really good time because I'm getting ready to launch another book. So I needed that.
Ooh.
Because as you know, Amani, when you get ready to put something new out into the universe, it's like, will people really want to hear what I have to say?
Yes.
I feel good about it now.
Yes.
What an honor. What an honor for
Yes,
somebody,
right?
yes, read it, repurpose it, pull out their own lessons. That's what an honor. That's
Mhm.
spectacular. I
Such
do
a
have a
blessing.
question. You had just said something about leadership and about tattletaling. And I think as emerging leaders, you inevitably get in that spot of, do I say something? Do I not say something? And then eventually when you become an older leader, you're like, gosh, I looked at it totally differently. So for those emerging leaders out there who are on the precipice of actually becoming a long-term leader, how do you suggest they lead without tattletaling, or lead with just being honest if someone asks an honest question?
It's a really good question. Let's talk about tattletaling. Oftentimes we find ourselves as emerging leaders with less power than other leaders in our organization. It can be really scary and hard to coach up when we see a more tenured leader unintentionally treating someone unfairly or something like that. And so what I recommend doing is thinking about the outcomes. So, do I hold this person and give them feedback publicly? If I give them this feedback publicly in front of everyone else, will I jeopardize the dignity of anybody in the room? And if the question is likely, then have the conversation in private, but still have it in a way that is non-judgmental, because what I have discovered, especially tenured leaders get a bad rep. Like, there's so much that's wrong in leadership. Like, bosses suck and they're creating these toxic working places. I have yet to meet a leader who wakes up every morning and say, I want to be a terrible leader today. I want to treat people unfairly. So often
Yeah.
it's unintentional. So when you do coach up, just remember, give them some grace, assume they meant well, but could be completely oblivious to the adverse impacts of their actions. So have courage, have the conversation, but kind of go through that criteria on when and how you have the conversations to achieve the outcome that you're looking to achieve.
And I think you hit it on the head. The assuming that the intention is good, I think, is key. I think that really pushes it forward. Assume
Mhm.
everybody's intentions are good, then give the feedback. Thank you for that.
You're
Yeah.
very welcome. And learn how to give feedback well. Like, we suck
Mm,
at that too. So
mm.
Yeah.
it's scary. And I was just teaching a class recently, and one of the examples I used is, how many of you can remember when your parents or elder saying, if you don't have anything nice, don't say anything at all. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And that
Mhm.
often pops into our heads before we need to give somebody feedback. And so we're like, well, it's easier not to say anything. And we don't give feedback, but we all need it because oftentimes our behavior is unintentional. We don't even see it. So coach up and have the courage to do so.
Mm.
Well, you mentioned a couple of things I want to address. So you mentioned the thought is, do I say something or do I not say something? Then having the courage to say something, you also mentioned, which is a good segue to one of the questions I have for you. I kind of set it up. I think it was a little bit over a year ago, September 2022. Melissa, we were at dinner together downtown LA. And, we had the dinner and then we left. Melissa, you went to do a speech at the LA Live. And then Melissa calls me the next day. And she says, she says, Amara, are you doing okay? Because I noticed you weren't your normal jovial self. You seem kind of reserved. Is everything
Mm.
okay? And my question to you is, how did you have the courage to call me and ask if I was okay? Because 99 out of 100 people would have done, oh, it's not my business. I'm going to let him kind of do what he's doing. How did you have the courage in that instance to call me and ask me that question?
I genuinely care about you.
Oh, that's so
Like, I
nice.
genuinely care. And
Mhm.
so if I held back and didn't check in with you, what kind of friend am I? Like
Mhm.
superficial people that would operate based on fear and let you, suffer in silence? No. I come from nine. There's 9 of us. Like, we're loud and we check in with each other. And so
Right.
it's just a matter of also knowing your heart and knowing that you could receive it.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah.
And so that's it.
Go ahead. Keep going.
No, just and choosing to have the courage because we care.
Yeah. That call was probably the tipping point for me in terms of making major changes. So I just want to say, live, just thank you, because otherwise we don't know what would have happened.
You would have
Um,
figured it out.
much longer, much more
Maybe a
pain,
little
let me
later.
tell you. Yes.
I
Yes.
agree.
I
I
received that.
agree,
Thank you.
Imani. You would have figured it out. You would have.
Right.
Yeah.
So I had to ask that. And then I want you to go back to the beginning. And I want you to think about the first speech you ever gave and how did it go?
Oh man, what a great question. That takes me way, way back, honey.
Tell us, paint the picture, talk to us. You don't have to tell the year. We don't really talk about years and ages
Oh,
here,
I
but
know. No, I was a salutatorian in my high school graduation.
okay, talk to us.
I was in drama and theater, and I loved that space. And it was there I discovered my voice. Like, I have something to say, people need to hear. And I had a way of designing messages, that resonated with others. And so I applied, and they chose 2 salutatorians that year, which was perfect because we complemented one another. But that was my first speech. And I
Mhm.
made the analogy, oh my gosh, I can't believe you asked this question. It's taking me back. But I used the analogy about the diploma being printed on paper and how paper comes from trees and where we are is our root, and we can always come back to our roots. It was good. It was so good. I fell in love
Ooh.
with speaking, and I didn't do it anymore until I was working for Nationwide Insurance. I cut
Okay.
my teeth at Nationwide, and I ultimately pioneered digital education for Nationwide in the late 90s before online learning was a thing. And we expanded our reach where people could actually absorb and consume this content even though they were on the road. And my boss at the time says, this is such an innovative thing that you've done in this industry and around learning. You need to get on stages and talk about it. And I did. And I've been on stages ever since.
Mm, Great
Mhm.
stories. Great
Thank you.
stories. Mandy, over to you.
I have so many brain trails of questions on that. Okay. So you worked for Nationwide, you've worked for HD Vest, you've worked for various corporations, and obviously now you run your own consulting firm.
Mm.
So you know what the goods and the bads are of working for a corporation, and then obviously being outside of it and helping companies, So how do you detoxify a workplace? How do you get rid of what everybody might say is a toxic work environment, or how do you help people not create a toxic work environment?
Mhm. Number 1 is you have to define what toxic work environment is because it's subjective. Like, it's
Mhm.
people think they know what it is, but it really boils down to like 3 simple things. And this is based on research by MIT Sloan Management Review. And they were studying the Great Resignation. What they found is the way that workers define a toxic work environment is they're not treated fairly, they don't feel welcome, and they aren't involved in key decisions.
Mm.
Simple little things. Simple little things. But so often, without knowing what good looks like, we over engineer solutions and don't solve the problem.
Mm.
So when you know that people want to feel welcome, they want to be involved in key decisions, they want to be treated fairly, you do it. And you figure out as a leader, get some feedback from your teams through 360 assessments, for example. What are you doing well? What are you not doing well? And be open to that feedback. Prioritize the areas where you need to focus on to become an even better leader. get really good at it, and then go to the next item on the list. That is the simple blueprint for how it happens, how you start to rehumanize and detoxify your workplace and your work environment.
And building on that, right? And it is so simple. We always make it so hard, but it is so simple, just like you said. And building on that, how with the huge influx of people that are now working remote or working from home, how can leaders motivate a work from home environment? How can they, what are some tactics they can put in now that they might not have had to have that skill set before, but now they're kind of stumbling over themselves trying to figure it out?
Yeah, that's such a good question. I have an unfair advantage in that in many roles throughout my career, I encourage people to work from home
Mm.
because they were so much more productive than
Mhm.
coming in the office. And then you spend an hour and a half hearing about somebody's bad date, and then the day is gone. So I found that I always encourage my teams, when you've got a lot of time, you need to focus on some heavy lifting projects, go home and do it so you're not distracted.
Mhm.
And some of the things that also managed teams that were 100% remote, like years ago. So some of the things that we did was we spent some time online having fun.
Mhm.
Like we had wine down Wednesdays, and
Mhm.
we would have Halloween parties, and where we all, dressed up and had fun. We infused fun into the online working environment because one thing as humans, we need to feel connected socially to other people. So when you spend time not talking about work, having transactional conversations, just really get to know each other, they create friends. And when you can create friends on your team, they're stickier and they're happier and they work harder. It's just how it
Mm.
works. But some other things is you also need to unplug from the computer and get some face to face time with each other, especially when you're looking to build trust with a team. Nothing is more impactful than meaningful conversations, meaningful, high quality time in person. So then, when you are scattered and you're on islands by yourself, you're working remote, you already have those connections and those bonds formed. So
Mhm.
that's what I would recommend.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
Mhm.
I hear you. So I want to continue kind of the examination of your career. And as you made
Okay.
your way through many different jobs, very successful in all of them, everybody has a turning point in their life, their career. What was that moment for you, and why did you not turn back?
Mm.
Ooh, ooh. Let me tell you, there have been many. There have been many.
Okay.
But I'll tell you about when I took the leap out of being working for corporate companies and then launching my own firm. So, as you mentioned, Mandy, a lot of women might be afraid to say they've been around. I've been around. Okay, I've been in a lot of different industries, insurance, investments, technology, associations, you name it. But I did that on purpose. Every job change, I was intentional about going to a different industry just so I could see how it worked in other places.
Mm.
And it's helped me become a great problem solver. So anyway, so I was the head of education for Meeting Professionals International. What's up, MPI? Love y'all. For about a year. And it was there I met all of these entrepreneurs who were truly living out their life's purpose. And I do not want to squander a minute of my time on this earth. And so I was like, I think it's time for another switch. I could have either gone back to work for a previous boss who I loved, who wanted me to come work for this new firm, or I could take the leap and diversify my career again and become an entrepreneur. So I decided to become an entrepreneur and I launched my own business. It was never a desire for me. What has been a desire for me is living out my life's purpose. And
Mm.
so I got the guts and motivation to do it and took the leap. And I'm about to celebrate 5 years in business next month. Yay! Thank
Congratulations.
you so
That's
much. Thank
huge.
you.
That's huge.
Now, as you've made your way through the entrepreneur life, I'm sure you've been given a lot of advice and you've heard a lot of advice. So, two-part
Mm,
question. I'm
mm.
going to scratch my inner Jay Shetty here. What is the best advice you've been given?
The best advice I've been given came from an HD Best advisor, Mandy.
Oh, he did. What was it, Brian? Like
No. His name was Tom Geisler, and one of the best human beings on the earth. And he said to me years ago, he said, Melissa, you're one of the great ones. The only limitations you have are in your mind.
Mm.
Boom. And I believed him.
Yeah.
And so that was the one. I think that's the greatest advice I ever received.
Yeah. And then
Greatest
the flip
advice.
side.
Yeah.
Well, go ahead. You
Go
want to
ahead.
say more?
No. What was that? You go, Amani.
The flip side would be, what is the worst advice you've either been given or you've heard?
Fake it till you make it.
Tell us why. I knew you were going to say
Show up
that.
and be yourself.
Yeah.
I faked it for a long time, feeling like I had to assimilate or change who I was to fit in. What I realized, people can see when you're being phony, they can see that a mile away. But the need and desire to fit in is so strong. But when I just accepted who I am, good, bad, and ugly, and showed up as my true, authentic self, I feel better. And then I'm having a more genuine and a deeper impact and influence with others. So don't fake it till you make it. Be yourself.
I agree. I hate that saying "fake it till you make it." I mean, I get the premise of it, right? It's just like it's okay to wing it, but like, wing it and sling it or something could be better. But I'm with you. Like I'm with you. Like it's okay to be a little messy at the beginning, and it's okay to not know all the answers, and it's okay to experiment, right? That's
Yes.
essentially fake it till you make it. But I agree that whole fake it till you make it sounds bad. It just sounds bad. It feels bad to say too.
It does.
Yeah.
But so how many times have we heard that?
Yes,
All the
too
time.
many.
Yeah,
I've
Too
given it too before I knew
Yeah.
better. But
Mhm.
Now you know
Yeah.
better.
worst
I
advice
wanna
I've received and given is fake it till you make it.
I wanna
Check
know
back.
from an entrepreneurial standpoint, because we've all done this, at the beginning of where we're at and where we're at now. What is something that you will never do again that you did at the beginning of starting your business that you thought you had to do, either out of desperation or you just thought you had to do it, and now you look back and you're cringing at like, "Oh gosh, I can't believe I did that," or "I'll never do that again."
I didn't say no enough.
Mhm.
I was just willing to take any project that would come my way. Oh my goodness, people actually want to work with me. Yes, I'll do this project, which I knew was not a good idea. And
Mhm.
my challenge was I have led previously, I led big teams of people. So I had folks on my team. I was the strategist. I had folks on my team to delegate work to and oversee it. We all worked really, really well together, but we all had different roles. And then when I moved into being an entrepreneur, I was everything from the CEO to the janitor,
Mhm.
and so flexing, scaling down and doing work I probably hadn't done in 20 years. It was a real challenge. So in a lot of the projects I was saying yes to, it was just me. So I had to be able to flex from this strategy, visionary, project manager, all the way down to administrator of software and all that. And it was not aligned to where my strengths are. And so I should have said no more upfront, but it became a lesson. I didn't fail. I did whatever it took, but I had to work around the clock and hustle really hard to make it happen. But
Mhm.
those aren't projects that I should have taken on.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah.
a big one. Say no early. I mean, we all learn that. You all take everything and then later on you're like, God, why did I do that? So I think,
Mhm.
you know, boundaries, setting boundaries, saying
Mhm.
no. No is a complete
Yes.
sentence. Those are all
Yes.
powerful things. Thanks for
No
sharing
is
that.
a complete
Yes.
sentence. Absolutely,
Mhm.
Mandy.
Shout out to Chris Musgrave, who's tuning in on LinkedIn. Thank you for tuning in.
Hi,
Appreciate
Chris.
you.
Hi, Chris.
Yes. Now, I think we met in person. It was January 2020. Then we had the pandemic. How did the pandemic change you as a person?
Oh, wow. It made me realize how grateful I am for professional teachers in elementary schools. Oh, boy. It made me appreciate every time I walk by a roll of toilet paper in the grocery store, I'll be grateful that it's there. Like, it made me appreciate the things I formerly took for granted, for sure.
Right.
It made me appreciate the importance of not squandering the pause. This is a story about us here, Amani. So, Mandy, our revenue pretty much dried up during the
Mhm.
pandemic, right? I had some passive income that was coming in, but for the most part, it had dried up. I wasn't speaking, I wasn't traveling. And Amani and I met and said, there's still people that they need a word. They need some
Mhm.
inspiration. What can we do about it? And so we decided to launch this series called Community Keynotes, where we unapologetically worked with non-professional speakers, help them craft and tell a compelling story, and then feature them telling their story online. And oh, Mandy, some of the stories that they shared are just so intimate. And what was interesting is as they were preparing to tell their story, almost everyone said this was like a cleansing process. Revealing this deep, dark secret released the power it was holding over me. And so during that pandemic, I realized we had something really special in helping other people share their stories with the world and giving them a stage to do it. And we weren't making any money, but it did not matter. Like we were completely filled by the value and the impact of seeing these people just blossom and grow. And since then, several of them have pursued now professional speaking careers.
Cass comes to mind. Cass is the one that comes to mind.
Cass is one of them. Absolutely. Shamika Jennings and so many other. And they're just, I feel so honored that we are part of that journey. And so even though you may be in the middle of chaos, you may be in the middle of a pandemic or whatever that slows everything down, don't stop leaning in. Continue helping others where you can. And that shaped me for the rest of my life. I'll never be the same because of it.
I didn't know about the community keynotes. That is super. Bring them back. What a great idea, you two. Bring them back. Bring them back.
So good.
It was so good. And remember, we were learning about live streaming on the fly while we were doing the show. Like this was 3.5 years ago. And we were learning on the fly doing the show. We did 2 seasons. We had merch for everyone. And we had one of my students, Yolanda.
Oh, Yolanda.
Yes. It was so good. Yes.
So good. Go out to YouTube. Check out Community Keynotes. There's some really great stories. You might want to have some of the speakers on your podcast. Really,
yeah. Let's do it.
So now we kind of come to the point in the show where we flip the script and we allow you to ask each of us a question. No question is out of bounds. We'll let you choose who you want to ask the question to first, and we will go from there.
Mandy, what advice? This is for you, Mandy.
Yeah.
What advice would you give your 18-year-old self?
Ooh, it's a page out of Amani's book.
It is.
Or maybe he stole it from you. I don't know.
I stole it right up from his book.
Oh gosh, I would give myself so much advice. I think I would tell myself to listen. I think I would tell myself it's everything is going to be just fine. And I think I would remind myself that it's all right to be your authentic self. I was so caught up in being like the class clown or the anti-conformist or the F the institution kid, like the John Bender from the Breakfast Club of Cleveland, Ohio, that that I was in my own way all the time. I was sarcastic. I was getting kicked out of play. I wasn't a bad kid, but I did some bad, I just was poorly behaved, I guess. And I think I would just tell myself like, it's okay to be yourself and listen more and just pay attention a little bit more to the world around you.
Thank you for sharing that, Mandy.
Yeah.
It became wisdom though for you now, didn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, all that bad behavior took me to some really interesting places and I learned a lot. I learned a lot along the way. Lots of trips and falls that make you better for sure.
That's right. No judgment. It's all good. It is all good. Yeah. Okay. Is it still my turn?
It's still your turn.
Yeah. You've got
ready,
the mic.
Monty?
I'm ready. Yes. Talk to us.
Fast forward. Let's say you're 80 years old. What advice would you give yourself now?
Ooh.
Okay, so we'll fast forward 80 years old. I would say, continue to take risks. Like moving to Vegas is a big risk. So continue to take risks. You're never too old to accomplish something if, you put your mind to it. And just continue to, I guess, watch people's energy and just continue to be selective about who you surround yourself with is what those would be kind of the top 2 or 3 things I would say.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So,
li-
any
What I've
follow-ups?
always, if I may,
Yes, you
since I
may.
since you gave me the mic, let me go ahead and ask some more questions. So I have always said that when we are on our deathbed, we're surrounded by our loved ones. What's going to matter most are the people who you love you back.
Hmm.
And how you're living your life right now. Make sure that you're treating them in a way where they love you back. And then also, nobody ever says, I wish I would have worked more.
Mm. No.
Never. So,
No.
take that in mind and live your life. Live a full life right now. Work to live. Don't live to work.
Hmm.
You gotta have balance in it.
Since we're on the topic, and I know I've asked this before, but I'm curious if the answer has changed. If we'll go back, Columbus, Ohio, 21-year-old Melissa, and give her advice based on everything you know now, what advice would you give your younger self?
What did I say before?
We could go check that. I didn't want to pollute my mind, so I wanted to keep an open mind.
Yeah, 21. Yeah, 21, I've said, have more fun. I
Mm.
was so serious. Like at 21, I wasn't staying out late.
You
Mandy,
should
I
have
should
hung
have
out
been
with
hanging with
me. Yeah, you
you.
should have hung out with me. I would have shown you all the things to do.
Girl, I should have hung out with you. But it's okay. Because then when I got to be 30, I had a little money under my, in my pocketbook and all that. I got out and had some fun. I made up for it. But
Mm. Sure you
just
did.
get out and have some fun. Have more fun.
Yeah.
I
Life
love
is
that.
short. Enjoy your youth.
What's next for like Melissa in terms of when you think about your business and speaking 2024 and beyond? What's next?
Mm. So I dropped a little bit earlier that I have a new book
Yes.
coming out. I just finished the first draft. I'm really
There
excited
we
about
go.
that. I'm in the editing process of that. It's all about how we can detoxify our workplaces and rehumanize our teams. That's all I'll say about that, but probably around the April-ish timeframe is when it'll come out. So that's huge. That's new for me. And I also partnered with ADL Speakers in January of 2023. And they are a speaker management company. So they handle everything from direct leads, indirect leads, managing contracts, everything like that. As a result of their partnership, they have seriously leveled me up. So I've been finding stages and clients and audiences I never would have found without them. So this was the year where we were kind of dating. And we have totally we got married shortly after that.
Oh,
Like,
yeah, you
the
did.
husband and Monty. So we are in partnership, and I am so thankful and grateful for what they're doing to help me elevate my voice and make even more friends. And so I think we'll just continue on the trajectory there and expanding my reach, expanding the stages that I land on and the work that I do. So those are the two things that's certainly on a professional side. On a personal side, I am on a quest to make sure I'm living a full and integrated life. And I am as centered and balanced and as mindful as I possibly can be. I'm working with a life coach. Shout out to Lee Papa.
Aw.
She is absolutely changing so much she's not changing my thinking. She's leading me down a quest where I'm coaching myself. There's so much wisdom you can gain from your own experience. And so with her, I'm helping to, uncover those things. And I feel better. I feel more centered than I ever have been in my life. So that's a big one. And when you are that centered and mindful and aware, you can't help but to elevate everybody around you, your family, clients, all of that. So I'm looking forward to just continuing on this practice and see what happens.
Now, most people who are as successful as you and in such a big leadership position would dismiss the idea of, well, I need to take care of some coaching for me. What inspired you to take that step to go for it yourself?
Oh, my cup was empty. Like when you're in a coach, it's like the cobbler's children with no shoes. You're always helping others figure it out. And that's fun. And I love it. But I'm like, ooh, I'm kind of depleted here. I'm in balance. Something's not right. I got to figure this out for myself. And introspection is hard, which is why you need a coach. Just ask you those questions, well-placed questions to help you think about how you think. So you can get in your own mind and figure it all out, and so that's what I realized I needed somebody else. And there's nobody I would trust more than Lee Papa. We've been friends for years, but this is our first time
Mhm.
working with each other like this. And it's been one of the best things I've ever done.
I'm
Yeah.
so glad. I'm so and you're right. Those of us that do coach, I don't know about you, but are you learning new ways of your own practice through being coached by Lee? Because I know
Absolutely.
I learned that I don't that's not why I use the coaches, but I learn new ways of running my business through being coached. Not from what the coach is telling me, but I'm like, oh, look at how they run their business. So are you
Mhm.
learning different ways for your own business?
Absolutely, I am. Yeah, I am a learner. I'm a
Mhm.
terrible formal student. Like, I'm the worst student to sit in class because I'm a teacher. But
Mhm.
I'm always looking at what other people are doing and how I can use their best practices to make it mine even better and continue to innovate. And Lee, the way that she approaches so much is leveled up my coaching game too from a technical perspective. But I'm always, whether it's a speaker, it's a podcast, whatever, there's always a lesson learned there that can help you become even better at your own craft.
I love that transferable skill from one to the other. It's so powerful.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
talked earlier about gifts and talents, and we know you obviously have endless gifts and endless talents. When you're working with people to illuminate their gifts or talents, and they might feel like they can't find the shine, they can't find what that gift or talent is, but we all know it's in there. What are some tactics or advice that you give to people that are trying to illuminate their gifts and talents?
Mhm. Illuminating people's gifts and talents and helping to maximize people's performance is something that I absolutely love to do and have for a really long time, which is why I chose to lead teams of people.
Mhm.
And so often we as leaders feel like we need to keep them on our teams. But I'm one of the first questions I ask new team members, what's next for you? What do you want to do? What would you do for free? And once I have that insight, I give them stretch assignments to help them discover that they've got what it takes to do whatever it is that they want to do. So it's really a matter of just creating avenues for them to stretch out, stretch their wings, see what they're made of, but then also build confidence and then get out of the way or give
Mhm.
them whatever tools they need to help get there. But you have to ask the right questions to help them find that desire from within.
It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
awesome. It's awesome.
Mhm.
Everybody should work for Melissa Majors at some point.
Amen. Yes.
Like, don't
Yes.
you think she'd be
Amen.
the best boss as you're talking? I'm like, I wish I had you as a boss 20 years
Thank
ago.
you, Mandy.
I
Thank
know.
you.
We learn the most from the bad bosses, right? But we remember practices from the great bosses, and I think that
Mm,
you would be a great leader to work with. So
thank
this
you.
is really good stuff. Yeah.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Mandy. I appreciate that.
Sometimes we like to do a little word association on the show. So how this exercise works, I'm gonna tell you a word or a phrase. You have to tell us the
Uh-oh.
first word or phrase that comes to mind when you hear this. Okay, you ready?
Gotta keep it clean, right?
I mean,
Everybody's
Nah,
like, no.
nah.
Last show of the year. Come on.
Let's make
Yes.
Amani blush. Yeah, make
Okay,
Amani
Yes,
money
blush.
blush.
make me
Okay.
blush. Already made me blush one time. So, here's the first one: Columbus.
OH.
Okay.
IO.
Yeah, girl. For those of you who don't know it, that's the Ohio State University.
Right. Yes. Yes. MPI.
Hmm. Oh, can I tell a story?
Yes,
Yeah.
you can tell, sir.
MPI taught me all about the meetings and events industry. So when I left Nationwide, I became head of education for an investment firm, HD Vest, Mandy.
Mhm.
And within my portfolio, I was responsible for managing events, trade shows. I didn't know a doggone thing about how to run a meeting. Like I was clueless. And so I went to MPI, I joined as a member, and I learned my craft. And so they helped me fall in love with the events industry. So that was
Mm.
about 200 words to
Yes.
all sum it up to love. I love MPI and I love what they do.
Aw.
So love.
Yes. Perfect. Next one: basketball.
Oh, the single ladies.
Ah, put your hand up.
I love it. The next one: narcissism.
Social media. I can't can't boil it down to one question. I'm sorry, one answer is social.
That works. That works. Diversity.
Variety.
Courage.
Amani.
Oh,
Thank you.
Monty. Oh, that's nice.
Community keynotes.
God's work.
Yes. Mandy, I'll turn it over to you for your final question, then I'll help close it out.
I think there's so many gifts and talents you bring to the world. How can we support you?
Right.
How can people find you? What is one way we can lift you up in 2024 as you continue to pursue the things you want to do to level yourself up?
Thank you for your kind words, Mandy, for
Yeah.
asking. I would love for folks to connect with me on LinkedIn. That'd be the number one thing. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And when my book comes out, grab a copy.
Done.
That'd be my
You'll-
ask. Thank you.
You'll have to let us know when it goes in the pre-sale phase.
For sure.
And then we will share with everybody, share your post, just shoot us a message and we'll share it. So you can, be a bestseller in whatever categories you want to be in.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah,
that, Mandy.
for sure.
Thank you.
So let me think here. There was something else I was going to share. But when I recorded the audio version of my book, we did a special thing where Melissa would interview me after each chapter, which is so cool. And that's so amazing. That really made my audio book very different. So I wanted to say thanks again for that. And then during the pandemic, it was Judy Holler and Melissa who gave many graduation speeches to my students because they were about to leave without any graduation, go out in the world. And so I still have a recording of that. I have to share that with you. So to close out, maybe you could just tell the people anything we didn't talk about that you want to talk about, or like a quick little minute, maybe mini graduation speech for people who are getting ready to graduate from 2023 to 2024 and just leave them inspired, and then we'll close out.
Congratulations. You have done it. And if there's anything that you feel you are not able to accomplish, remember the best advice that I received. The only limitations you have are in your mind. So believe in yourself. And if you need a boost, call me. I want you to succeed. Yeah.
Get that Melissa Majors magic.
Yes. Magic. We'll give you a round of applause. We're going to put you in the green room really briefly. So round of applause. Thank you so much for just being an amazing guest today. A great friend, as I said, Mount Rushmore, but just being so courageous in everything that you do, both personally and professionally. And it's just an honor to know you. So I'm just so thankful for you to be on the show.
Thank you, friend. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks for being here, Melissa.
Thanks, Mandy.
Round of applause. All right, Mandy, we will be on break until January 3rd, which is our first mini episode to be renamed later. Yes, any final thoughts or comments as we kind of close out 2023?
I mean, yeah, we're on hiatus till our next live show, the 15th, and then mini eps January 3, January 10. PCMA is coming to San Diego. So if you are in the industry, come say hi. I will be there with bells on. I will wave to everybody for Amani. And I would just want to say thank you to all of the listeners and all of the watchers. You really make our show better, from recommending different people we should have on, or just participating in the chat, or sometimes I'll just get feedback like, hey, Mandy, like you nod your head too much, or like your head's I can't see your mouth. So I just just being honest and giving feedback and helping lift this show up is really magical. So just thank you to anybody that is listening or watching. All of that goes so far. We really, really appreciate you.
Amazing. Thanks, everyone. Make sure to follow us on LinkedIn. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube. All the things. Give us a rating and a review on the podcast platform of your choice. Stay safe over the holidays, and we will see you all next year. Bye, everyone.
Hug your family. Hug your family hard. Happy New Year.
Yes, hug them hard.